expert in novice learning, metacognition, and the holy grail of learning in cognitive science, transfer of knowledge. Being able to transfer knowledge from one instance to another. Students have a great deal of difficulty with that, as many of you can attest to in your own classes. Over the past decade, there's been a huge amount of work published in learning sciences, brain-based research, etc., both in the cognitive side and the affective side, including motivation by students for learning and how we can improve and how we can help that motivation. In the role of stereotype threat, for example, or growth mindsets for students, or the notion of grit and perseverance and the role that that plays in student success. So work on translating that learning sciences research to course design, pedagogical innovation, innovative assessment practices, that's the domain of faculty development, which is critical if we're to improve student learning and success for a wide swath of our students, not just the top students, but for a wide swath of our students. So that's furthered by applied research, both generally in the scholarship of teaching and learning and discipline-based education and research. It's part of the area that I work in economic education and research. Let me just give you one example in physics. For example, research primarily in the US is conducted by physics education research groups of faculty members at high-ranking universities in the United States, including Nobel Prize-winning physicist Carl Wyman, who has devoted his time since winning the Nobel Prize about a science foundation in the United States to support that kind of work in getting faculty members to not only think about, but implement new teaching practices. We also have a series of national conferences, Lilly conferences, other kinds of conferences, as well as disciplinary conferences that focus on teaching and learning. Physics, again, is a leader in this area. They have 2 times a year a conference for physics teachers from all the way from the K-12, kindergarten through 12th grade level, as well all the way through university level. So question, I started the first session with a question. I have another question for you. I think it will be just as profound, perhaps. Right? How many of you in the audience? Right? The first one was how many had been in a MOOC. Right. So the question this time for me is how many of you have been to a conference that's focused on teaching and learning, as opposed to a disciplinary conference? That's good. There are even more than there were for the MOOCs. That's good. So my hope is that in the future, when we come back 10 years from now, we hope to be back many more times in between. We come back 10 more years from now, and we come to a conference like this, and the whole room can raise their hand. Okay? That's part of our purpose in being here. As Leslie said, we have a proposal that we're putting forward. We put forward to Ambassador Srinivasan. We've been talking about this for a while, to help develop a culture of continuous improvement in teaching and learning, faculty development, and that would incorporate 4 or 5 different elements. So the idea that we have is that there'd be visits from maybe 50 to 100 faculty members from India coming to the United States, to North Carolina, maybe for 6 weeks, 3 to 6 weeks in the summer. It's a beautiful time of year there, and maybe rotating across campuses and doing workshops on course redesign or course design, on assessment, on some of these teaching pedagogies that I've talked about. And then also there'd be a mentoring. There'd be mentors from University of North Carolina faculty members or people involved with faculty development that could work with one-on-one, and then following that, when faculty members return back to India virtually, it may be a 1-to-10 ratio, something like that, to follow up and see how the kinds of things that were done in the workshops may be being implemented in classrooms back here in Kerala. So webinars, etc. We'd also hope that we could encourage faculty members here to attend a Lilly conference, the kind of conference that we've been hosting in North Carolina, one of 4 in the country, and so that you could experience what that's like, with the idea that you could develop that kind of conference here. Our idea is to help build capacity, right? And so that we can exit out of that equation, and so that you would have your own national, or in this case, state, but perhaps as a model for the nation, teaching conference, where people would come to Kerala to learn about the most recent advances in teaching and learning, and how that's improving student learning and success in your courses, right? So this is consistent with the goals for the Kerala State Higher Education Commission in terms of a training center. Those things dovetail nicely, but we'd like you to think even bigger with that. So let me just finish by asking two questions and giving a quick response. Leslie already has indicated something about this already. And so why collaborate with the University of North Carolina system in this sort of effort? In North Carolina, we just happen to be blessed with a great group of people, faculty development folks like me and others across the University of North Carolina system who are involved nationally, both in discipline-based education and research and the scholarship of teaching and learning, faculty development more generally. And so we have a wealth of resources. It's just it's been happenstance that that's occurred, but we have a wealth of background and knowledge, and we want to be able to share that in a deep well of experience. Right? And so why would the University of North Carolina be interested in collaborating with Kerala? As Leslie has mentioned, we believe that for our students, for our faculty members, which we hope would lead to faculty exchanges perhaps as well, that learning about India, learning about Kerala is really important, an important part of being a global citizen. It's really important that we expand our cultural horizons, not only for our students, but for our faculty members, and build those collaborations. So we view this as a win-win initiative. We hope to gain your support and as we move forward with such a collaboration in the years ahead, and we hope to be back many times. So thank you.